Like, I literally was never really eating protein, like maybe here and there, but it just wasn't part of my diet. I had this real like inner drive to get it out to the world. Being online wasn't an industry, it wasn't a way of making money. I just felt really passionate how it helped me, and I wanted to help other people. I wrote 3 cookbooks, so one actually came out 10 years ago, which is like so long.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Catch Ups in My Kitchen with me, Georgia Simmons, host of the podcast. This podcast is about all things food, health and wellness, and in my kitchen this week, I am joined by Madeleine Shaw, the qualified nutritionist and influencer. I am so excited about this conversation because I used to have a blog called Healthy Habits, and when I had Healthy Habits, Madeleine's account was one that I really looked up to and followed, and so I was so happy to have her join me in my kitchen today. But I was really interested in asking Madeleine how she got into nutrition and where her love and passion for wellness came from, and also how she's kept up that passion over the last 12 years, because you've got to be so inspired to kind of keep producing all this content. So I was just really intrigued where her inspiration came from. And also, the space has changed dramatically. Not only has Instagram as a platform changed so dramatically, but also the nutrition and wellness space. Trends have come and gone, so I wanted to kind of hear Madeleine's journey in her career. I also had the chance to speak to Madeleine about some burning questions I had about nutrition, and also questions that you guys wrote in, such as top tips for bloating, all things milk, oat milk, raw milk, talking about oils, rapeseed oil, vegetable oil, her top nutrition tips. We asked it all. So honestly, this is a really, really great conversation, and I think you're going to absolutely love it because I certainly did. If I could please ask you to rate the podcast. I know this isn't something that we think about very often, but it really helps grow the podcast. If you could give us a rating, that would mean the world. And if you loved it, please share it to a friend and help me spread the word of Catch Ups in My Kitchen. It really does mean the world to me. So thank you so much in advance, and let's get stuck into the episode. Madeleine, welcome to my kitchen. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. I am really excited to have this conversation with you. I followed you for a long time, and I'm ready to kind of deep dive on all things nutrition. Before we do though, do you mind giving a really quick elevator pitch, who you are and what you do?
So yeah, I'm Madeleine Shaw. I'm a nutritionist. I'm also a yoga teacher, and I've worked in the wellness industry for 12 years now.
Amazing.
I've written 3 cookbooks, and I work a lot with brands on sort of wellness content. And yeah, I'm still super passionate about what I do, and it kind of all began for me. I moved to Sydney when I was 18, and I developed IBS, and I was trying to figure out what was causing it, and I had to kind of look at like my diet, but also my lifestyle, because so much of it's related to stress. So I kind of started meditating, doing yoga, and I went from like being the biggest like party girl to like being really into like walking and yoga and like eating well. And it completely changed my life, and I kind of had no idea what I was going to do as a career, but I just wanted to share that with other people. So I moved back to London and started my food blog 12 years ago, and went on to study nutrition, and kind of have, I guess, grown into all the different roles that I have taken on.
I love it. I love it. There's so much in that. And also Sydney's a great place to discover all of that, because I feel like their lifestyle out there is so health and wellness, and it's like you're outside, and it just feels like a great place to kind of discover that whole world.
It really is. Yeah, I can see you there.
I loved it there. I went there I travelled around Australia for 3 months, and I had the best time. And I was like, if Sydney wasn't too far away, I would be there. I definitely moved there. But for me, family's a bit of a pull, and I'm like, I do feel like I can't completely like move, but I think I would go back for a couple of months again. I just loved it.
Yeah, it's great.
We have a quick fire round.
Let's do it.
With all things food. So, cook in or eat out?
Cook in.
What is your favourite restaurant in London?
Oh, I really love Medler. Do you know on King's Road?
Oh my God, I haven't been there.
Have you not?
No. How have I not been there?
It's just The food is just amazing.
Whereabouts is it?
It's kind of near Try Yoga. Do you know that part?
Yeah. Okay,
World's End.
I need to try that. Go to Deliveroo.
Ooh, Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Vietnamese.
Yeah. Go to Cuisine.
I can't say Vietnamese
You can.
Thai.
Yeah. And your go-to fridge or cupboard staple, which isn't kind of like the basics.
Olives. I absolutely love olives.
Yeah, and also great to add into dishes and stuff.
100%.
Yeah. And what's your favourite dish to cook at home?
I'm always experimenting. So it's hard for me to say I've got a single thing, but I absolutely love mussels. Mussels is like my favourite dish. So some sort of like spicy tomato broth with mussels.
Oh my God, nice one. I did not expect you to say that. That's a nice one. Okay, so I kind of want to go back to the beginning. You touched on when you kind of had IBS and that whole journey. So let's talk about that, your lifestyle pre and kind of post, and how you kind of went into adopting new changes and like life with IBS.
Yeah. So I grew up in London. And I guess I don't know, I was very social, went out a lot, went partying a lot from a very young age. My poor mother was not happy. And yeah, just loved it. But definitely didn't look after my health. Drank a lot of alcohol. It was like the era of like low fat. So it was like low fat yogurt, diet drinks, like that kind of, like everything had to be fat free. Yeah. And so I definitely ate a lot of like low fat foods thinking that was really healthy. And then moved to Sydney and just started having like digestive, like lots of bloating, felt really uncomfortable. And I was like 19, 20. I was like, I should be at the prime of my life.
Yeah.
And then, I got diagnosed and went to see this naturopath. And she was like, you need to completely change your diet. She was like, you need to start eating whole foods, eat more vegetables and fruits. She was like, you need to up your protein. Like I literally was never really eating protein, like maybe here and there, but it just wasn't part of my diet. And just completely started to eat better. And then I started working at this gym that was like a gym and a cafe attached to each other in Bondi, and just started like falling in love with food and like cooking and eating, and just started to feel better. Like I felt like I woke up, I had no energy, I couldn't concentrate, had like foggy head, felt bloated, just felt rubbish. Like, and it wasn't like hungover rubbish, it was just like everyday rubbish.
Yeah.
And when I started to look after what I eat, I suddenly had like energy in the morning. I wanted to wake up. And I guess once you start getting into one thing, you kind of open your eyes into other things. So I started going to yoga a lot. I did this 40 days and 40 nights of yoga and meditation. And that got me really interested in like my mindset. And that was really helpful for me. I think I was never given any tools to manage stress. And I think, you know, inevitably, unfortunately, stress is part of our lives, whether it's created by ourselves or it's created by what's happening in our lives. And I think that was an amazing tool for me and really, really helped me. And then I was kind of finishing uni and I was like, okay, I need to really think about my life. And I was posting what I was making in the cafe to just my Facebook page. And this girlfriend was like, you should set up a food blog. And I have no idea what a food blog was because this just wasn't a thing. It was like, you know, we're talking 13 years ago. And I researched it. I ended up moving to France for a year, and that's where I sort of started creating it. And I had a bit of time to kind of do that. And yeah, that's where it sort of all began. And yeah, started kind of creating recipes, posting. And yeah, I wrote 3 cookbooks. So one actually came out 10 years ago, which is like so long.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Though.
And you know, it was so funny. Like I remember coming back to London and like wearing gym gear and people would be like, what are you wearing? And I'd be like in my Lululemon, because that was really normal in Sydney.
Completely.
And it was so not normal in London at this time. And people wore such different things to the gym. People didn't wear athleisure. And like, so exercise was punishment at that time. It was like, you know, obviously some people it wasn't, but for a lot of people it was like you slaved at the gym so that then you could like, I don't know, binge eat or whatever. And I think it's been really interesting watching that change of like it becoming a lifestyle. And that's always been my kind of philosophy, is like, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And my kind of first cookbook was called Get the Glow, which stemmed from these workshops I used to do. So I used to like rent a space and like do a food demo in front of people. I used to spiralize a courgette and people would be like, oh my God,
this is amazing.
Do you remember when we all were obsessed with spiralizers?
Completely. I love this story. It's so funny thinking back, because it's so true. And now like we all walk around in like athleisure gear and like we're all in gym gear, and I kind of think back like, what did we wear? Because like now it's just so normal to wear all this. It's so funny. And I guess the more you look, the more you see in this world. And I think Bondi would have completely introduced you to a whole world that you were like, wow, this is amazing. Like healthy food is so delicious.
100%. I think that was the big thing, because I think for so long we always thought it was like steamed fish and vegetables, which can be delicious with the right kind of dressing. But I think that was a big thing. I was like, I had this real like inner drive to get it out to the world, and this total naivety as well. I just wanted to feel like I didn't, you know, this being online wasn't an industry. It wasn't a way of making money. I wasn't posting to be famous or to have, you know, interest. I just felt really passionate how it helped me, and I wanted to help other people.
Yeah. And so were you posting on Facebook? When did the switch come into posting on Instagram?
Probably, I don't know, 11, like a year later or something.
And did you post under your own name?
Yes. So I was quite unusual to have my name as my website.
Yeah.
So I've always had my website as madeleineshaw.com, which is my name. But everyone was like, you know, Healthy Mary, or I don't know. They kind of had like a sort of more, I guess, fun, sort of playful name to it. Yeah. Whereas I was quite unusual just to put my name.
But also really great now.
Oh, thank God I did it.
Thank God, because I had a food blog when I was young.
Did you?
Called Healthy Habits.
Yeah.
And I like did the spiralized courgette. I did all of this. I did it all. And I like documented my own journey where I was lactose intolerant, and I like grew like okay following, and like I loved it, but it was under Healthy Habits, and like I then just stopped posting and I just lost it all. And I'm back in the kind of space of it, and I've gone through different things, and I was like, oh my God, if only I kept that going. But you
oh my God. I mean, I do that about everything in life. I'm like, if only I had invested in that.
Yeah. Where am I now?
Only I invented it. Yeah, we can't do that to ourselves, because it's soul destroying. But yeah, no, I think it was a total accident, because I genuinely couldn't think of anything. I was like, I can honestly remember the day so well, sitting in my mum's house in the living room being like, what could I call it? And like, you know, you're like Googling, seeing what other people have done, and then like what, you know, GoDaddy, like what names are left.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's been taken. And just really luckily Madeleine Shaw hadn't been. I mean, now I'm sure it's so hard to get any kind of name. That was a good move.
A very good move. I guess a lot of people kind of get told, oh, you need to change your diet and you need to change your lifestyle. And they may like make these changes in the first week or first month, and they're like, oh, this is good, I feel great. But then people really find it hard to kind of stick to them and make it their lifestyle, because it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. It's so true. To make it sustainable, it's got to become part of your norm and your everyday. But how does it become your norm if you're really struggling to find it to stick? If you're there, you're making these changes and they're great for the first few weeks, and then you're back to your old ways again. Like, why do you think it's stuck? And for someone else, how can you advise them?
I think because I've never been extreme, and I think, in my opinion, extreme doesn't work. It works maybe for a week, a month, 3 months, but long term it doesn't. And I think I've, on the whole, not excluded big food groups or elements. My food philosophy has always been about crowding in rather than cutting out. And I think having that positive mindset is what keeps you going long term. I think the minute you say to yourself, can't eat carbs, can't eat I don't know, meat, I can't eat this. One, you want it more because it's like your inner teenager in you is like, well, I'll show you.
Yeah, so true.
And two, like, let's be honest. Yes, I want to have a healthy body. Yes, I want to feel good. But also I want to be sociable and I want to connect with people. I want to eat out. I want people to be okay inviting me over and not be like, for fuck's sake, she's coming over. I don't want her to be over. Like, I think, you know, they say above all, relationships are the thing that keeps us the healthiest. Above food, above sleep, above water, above exercise. So I think the minute that your new lifestyle changes that and it makes you not able to participate in the world, then that is really hard to keep going. Now, obviously, let's caveat that to say that sometimes people do have to take a more extreme approach, whether they have a particular condition and they have to go on a particular diet or protocol to get to that place. But for most people, let's talk 80% of people, most people don't have to do that. Most people just need to eat a little bit better. And that might be just starting with their breakfast. I always think that's a really easy place to start. Sometimes we try and like, you know, we go in our cupboards and we throw everything out and we like, we go like too gung-ho. I think just start with your breakfast and just add in protein to your breakfast. So like if you start your day with like toast and jam, swap the jam out for like 3 scrambled eggs or 3 boiled eggs. And that's going to keep you fuller for longer. Stop that dip at 11 a.m. and just be a really simple swap as well. It doesn't feel like you're making massive changes. And I think actually that's the way that you're going to build habits. And I think once you start doing it and you see the effects and you feel good from it, that's what keeps you motivated. That's what keeps me motivated, is feeling good. But I think what, like you said, what makes people stop and go back to their old habits is it's just not possible to keep up. Maybe they're under eating, so they're too hungry and they've not got enough food. The other is that they're not doing things that they enjoy. Like if you love Chinese food, make Chinese food at home. Like, you know, grab the sort of sweet and sour flavors and cook it up with loads of veggies, cook your own rice, add some good quality protein in there. Like, I think sometimes we like love all these foods and then we just cut them all out and try and only eat foods that we don't like. Like, I actually like a kale salad, but let's just say suddenly you've gone from Chinese food to a kale salad and you're like sitting there like, this is rank.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to keep that going because food is pleasure and like we can't take that away from ourselves.
Completely.
So I think like, don't go from one extreme to the other. Like, look at what you're eating right now and just say, how could I add in an extra portion of veg? How could I add in a little bit more protein? How could I? And like, honestly, I think when you get into that mindset and it's more of an abundant mindset, then you aren't like binging out on the crisps and the biscuits and the other things because you're satisfied, you're full. And I think that that's a really important mindset. I almost think the mindset shift has to come first before anything else.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, you need to believe in yourself. And I think also, like, you know, I'm not 100% eating healthy all the time. Like, I do eat ice cream and I do drink, not every day, but like I do also like that. And I think that almost having that balance as well, you know, 80-20, 70-30, whatever, 90-10, whatever you want to have your balance, I think is a good way to be, because there are so many like amazing foods and drinks and experiences to experience in our life. And I think we shouldn't have to cut them off.
Completely. Yeah. I completely agree. And that is health. That is actually what healthy is. I think being too extreme isn't healthy. And I love what you said about being social and making it work in your social life, because we touched on stress. A really lovely way of like de-stressing is being with friends and family and socializing and having those moments. And I think if you're reducing those times because you're being so strict on yourself and trying to be so healthy, you're adding unnecessary stress to your lives that you just don't need. So I love that. And I think finding your reason for things and finding your balance and your way of doing it and you're healthy is what will make it more sustainable. I think we do try and cut and be so dramatic and drastic, and it's I mean, it's okay to do a week of being extra dramatic if you've got something coming up. And I always think this, actually, one thing I always think about is, if you're so strict on yourself all the time, what if you've got a really, like, your wedding's coming up and you want that extra little health kit before? What are you going to take away if you're so healthy all the time? Like, you need to leave a bit of room for life, then to take it away as and when you want to give yourself a bit of a, you know, I'm always like, that's just ridiculous.
I know. But it doesn't sell as well. Extreme sells, like, and I'm definitely aware of the fact that, like, you know, quick promises, we like quick fix, right? We're in this world where we can order whatever we want at the drop of the hat, like, especially living in London. Like, so I think it's a hard mindset to get into, like long-term results and like long-term, but like, your body is there for life. Like, you will be in this body for life. I mean, unless we invent some sort of new thing in the future, but like, I do think that, like, we do need to take care of our bodies 100%. But like, I do think, yes, slow and steady does win the race, but it's hard to get your mindset around it, because I think, you know, we're spending so much time online, we're comparing ourselves to everyone's best polished self, and that can often make us be like, well, I need to be there tomorrow, not in like 3 months time.
Completely. But actually, you'll get there quicker if you do find,
you definitely do,
the more manageable, sustainable version for yourself. But you're right, that doesn't sell as well. If someone online was like, I'm going to tell you the slow way, they're going to be like, well,
it's going to be really hard.
Swipe. I'm bored after 2 seconds.
Exactly.
Oh, it's crazy. So how did you then become a nutritionist? So kind of going back to the days you've kind of, you did Sydney, you're back in London, you've got your food blog. Where did the nutritionist part come in?
I started my training, I think it was the year of my first cookbook. I think it came out, I would have been 25 at the time, and no, 24. Wait, I'm 34, 24. And I think I was like, I need to learn more. So I did IIN, do you know, Institute of Integrated, no, IIN. So it was like a health coaching course. It was like a year long, all online, and I loved it. It was very me. It was very holistic. I don't know if anyone listening's done it, but it's super easy to like learn, digest. They do it in a really like palatable way, and it was a great kind of foot in the door, a bit of understanding. But I think I just knew I wanted to go deeper. I think, one, I knew that was a passion of mine, and two, I wanted to have a bit more credibility. Like, I was writing a cookbook about health and wellness, and I wanted to have a bit more science and backing behind me. So I'm someone that likes to take on a lot of things. So I took on my like yoga teacher training, which is a year and a half, and my CNM nutritional therapy diploma at the same time. And so I did that for 3 years, and that was really great. I found it really challenging. I find like sitting down, I mean, probably everyone does in this modern age, and just like listening to a lecture for 8 hours in a day, quite difficult. I'm very practical, and that's why I love cooking, because it's like using your hands, moving around. Like, I know, and I knew the day I turned 16, I did this internship, that I couldn't have a desk job, because I remember sitting there and I was like, I need to do something, I need to create. And actually, when I was 17, I did but one of those where you build a school in Africa, and this big like trek, and I loved bricklaying, like absolutely loved it. So I love anything like with my hands, moving, creating. So I think for me, sitting in the lectures was quite hard, because I like creating and producing with my hands. But I really enjoyed it, and it was good in many ways. Like, I liked I had the qualification, and I just learned so much from it, and it was good because you did a lot of like in-clinic work, working with people, and that was a really like great chapter of my life. But I literally, as I graduated, I gave birth to my son. Oh, wow. So I feel like I didn't like jump into the nutritional therapy, because I really thought I'd have a clinic, but then that I sort of have much more moved to working online. And that's kind of much more become my business. Whereas sort of before that I did supper clubs every month, like cooking classes, events, talks. Like I was much more with people, and then it sort of moved, as for everyone, like digitally and online, which is amazing because it's more flexible. But I do like also being in person.
Yeah, it's trying to find that little balance of
it
of
is
both.
I think a little bit of both.
Yeah, for sure. And you always kind of touch on holistic.
Yes.
And how it's, you kind of work holistically, and you mentioned your yoga and stuff like that.
Yes.
So how important is thinking about holistic health when we are talking about health?
I think it's everything, personally. I think when you look at what makes up your health, and you could think about it as like a pie chart, or like a circle, I would say like nutrition is a quarter of it. Like it is a substantial piece, but I think it isn't everything. I think your movement can be anything from rock climbing to yoga to strength training, is definitely another piece. Obviously sleep, I think, is such an important part. Your relationships, and then like your purpose, and that can be your passions, your hobbies, it can be your career, it can be, I don't know, a charity you work for, or an organization that you're part of. But I think all these parts make up our overall like well-being. And I think you can eat all the, I can't say kale anymore because people hate kale, don't they? Grass-fed beef is the new thing.
Oh gosh, yes.
Grass-fed beef. And I've always been talking about grass-fed beef for 12 years. You can eat all of that, and that's not going to make you healthy. Like, your stress levels are so important, and they really govern your life. So we have to have that good quality sleep. We have to manage our stress, whether that's meditation, mindfulness, like you said, speaking to your friends and family, going on walks in nature. Like, I do think we have to manage that. Like, it really is so key. So yeah, I always like to look at it in that picture, and look, it's not always going to be like perfect and you're ticking each box off. But I think it's also good not to like throw everything into one, because I think when you think that, say, movement is everything or nutrition is everything, if you then smash a kebab at 2 a.m, you think that you've destroyed everything, and it doesn't work like that. And I think that's literally one of the questions I've had forever, is like, oh, I went to a wedding and then I did this and this and this, and I drank and I ate this, and like I was so good the week before. And it's like, our body copes, our body has detoxifying like qualities within it, where it can cope with stress, it can cope with alcohol, it can cope with like food. Obviously too much of it isn't good, but it can cope. And I think we can allow our body to go through that. And like, if you had the best time with your friends, then like, amazing, probably that happiness was like even better than like that good night's sleep.
Completely. That memory you'll have them forever, and the pictures you'll smile at when you're feeling down, like
exactly. Or you'll laugh to yourself or something. So I think we can't kind of think that like one moment blows out all the hard work that we've done previously. It's just not the way the body works. And like, just because you've eaten like 3 slices of cake, it doesn't immediately show up on your hips. Like, that's again not how the body works. So I think that we just have to be kinder to ourselves, and that's a big lesson I have to learn as well. I'm quite hard on myself too, but I think we just need to like have intention, look after ourselves, but also have that like element of kindness as well to it,
and enjoy life as well. I think we don't put ourselves through these healthy eating and nutrition, and don't focus so much on ourselves to not like enjoy the benefits.
100%.
Like, we're putting all this work in for what?
Exactly.
You've got to enjoy it.
To what? Yeah, to have abs to show to strangers online.
Yeah,
like exactly. You have to come to your why. So like, why are you eating healthy? Why are you like strength training? And it's like, if that is, so I'm strong enough, to pick up my kids like when they need a hug, or so I'm healthy enough to like, show up with my loved ones and like be the best version of myself. But like, we are mainly doing this so we feel good, so we can then live life well. Do you know what I mean? And I think I always sort of think about that. It's like, you know, like that is your why. Like, and you need a why, because that's kind of your purpose and your passion and your motivation. And don't get me wrong, you can also have a why of like, I want to look good. Like, I don't think that sometimes we push that down to be like, oh, you know, it's got to be for these other things. It's also, everyone likes to look good. Like, we're an aesthetic, we like beauty, we like feeling good. So like that can also be a reason too. But like, that's to share with your loved ones and to enjoy that with them and for yourself, and to feel good within yourself as well.
Your why can't be the progress pictures. Like we're living beyond that. And I think it can't just be that. You've got to actually enjoy it and have fun. And, completely.
Well, it's that thing they always say, like, you know, if you're sitting there like dreaming like, oh, I'll only be happy when I have the yachts, then when you've got the yacht you will be thinking, well, I'll only be happy when I have a bigger one or something. And it's so true. Like, I do think if we can't find happiness, contentment in the moment, obviously there are some circumstances that wouldn't relate to this, but like, you know, if we can't find that, then it will be so hard, because we're just constantly chasing for like the next. And I think, you know, being more present, having more gratitude for whatever's going on in your life really is, I think, the key for happiness.
I agree. Sure. Enjoying the journey. I'm terrible at that. I'm always like, I need this, I need that, I need to do this, I need to do that. But 100%. Trying to enjoy it along the way is really important.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. I'm trying to, this is so like kind of slightly off topic, but potentially related. I'm trying to not online shop, like as in fashion, because I feel like I get in this, I don't know if you relate to this, and maybe you guys listening do, like, you just feel like there's never ending, right? It's like, someone else is wearing that cool leather jacket and you're like, well, I need that. And now like these now low-rise jeans are back in, like, you know, like, oh my God, I need low-rise jeans. And like, I just feel like it's just a never-ending loop where I feel like I've never got enough of clothes. So I feel like I'm going to try, and my new hot thing is like, not online shop, and just go into stores, like grab something when it feels right and looks right, because I do think you can just, I don't know, you could have that with homeware, you could probably have that with makeup, like I'm sure everyone's got, but it's that never-ending loop of like, you could never have enough of this.
It's so true, but also there's so much, it's so nice going in a shop, finding something you like, not for any other reason other than you just really like it and it really suits you. I think when you've got something that you're trying to buy something for, firstly, you can never find it. And secondly, like, that's just, it's nice to go in there and find something and buy it because it's just so great. It's really, it fits you right, and then get it. And that's perfect. But I agree, it's constantly like, oh my God, like, that person's wearing that, I need it. Oh God, I need it. Oh my God, I'm now missing out. Everyone's got it, I need it. It's like, wow, we don't need it all.
I know. And I think it's almost, I think it is that consumerism, it's a really hard cycle to break, and like, obviously we're just being sold all the time, and I think that's my new little thing I'm working on. That's
good. I think that is really, really good.
Anyway, we'll see how we go.
Good luck. So I want to touch on growing online. So how has the Instagram kind of space changed since you've been on it? Because I feel like it's changed dramatically, and the nutrition world has changed dramatically. So let's touch on that. How has growing online been, and how has it changed?
I guess it's changed so much. Like at the beginning of the journey, like there was only like 4 or 5 people in the health and wellness space, and now there's like thousands, right? And it's a career. Like, I imagine people, you know, finish uni or finish school and go, that's what I'm going to do as my job, in a way that wasn't really possible or a thing 10 years ago. I think it's changed a lot, and it hasn't changed at all. So it hasn't changed at all in the sense that trends have come and gone. So I remember, like, I'm not sure how young you are, but like the superfood trend. So like superfoods were really in, and it was like maca powder and goji berries. And then I feel like veganism came in, and everyone was vegan, and then like everyone was zero waste and no plastic. And then I feel like now it's like carnivore, and like everyone's just eating meat on what's it called, like chopping boards, aren't
Yeah,
they?
and eggs.
And eggs, yeah, a lot of eggs and a lot of meat.
And cheese.
And cheese and fruit, right?
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's remained the same. Although there have been different trends and they've changed, but it's always been like something comes in, everyone jumps on it, everyone's like, it's changed my life. And then it kind of has like 2-3 years and then it kind of fades away. So I think those sort of little moments have like come along, and there's been many more in between those. The things that have changed are, I guess it's more glossy and it's more lifestyle now. So it's sort of, I think before it was like you were just into food or you were just into fashion, and now people are much more like, they're fashion bloggers that are cooking and hiking and talking about their book club or something. So I think there's this sort of more all-encompassing of like sharing more of your passion, sharing more of yourself. My journey is I've become much, much more private. So like I really don't share any of my private life, haven't done for a really long time. And that's been really good for me. I think I need a switch off. So for me, like, this is my job. And then, today I'll work a bit later, but normally I finish work at 3 and then I go pick up my son and I'm off my phone. I don't share anything after that. So I think for me, I need those boundaries of work and life, because I feel like otherwise I don't switch off. It's like everything is work and everything is content and everything has to be styled and look a certain way.
Yeah. Which
I think for me, and I know some people love it, right? They love sharing their holidays, their weekends, everything. For me, I need, not that I'm super kind of polished online, but like I need just like reality and switch off, and not to be on my phone as well. Like I feel really grateful for social media and I really like it as a platform, but for me it's not my identity, and it's not something that for me it's a channel for my work, and that's that, and that's it. Does that make sense?
Completely.
Yeah.
Do you think in order for people to grow though, you have to kind of do the oversharing?
I think
to then go back, because I've heard this a bit, and I think so. I listened to something recently, and they were saying like, I'm a lot more private now, but I probably went from a stage of like oversharing hugely. I think it was Tash Oakley. Do you know her from Monday Swimwear?
Yes. Yeah.
So she was like, I'm so private. People don't really know, but they used to know my every single move. So she's probably got her like cult following who know her so well. And now it's like they respect the privacy.
Now she's a businesswoman.
Yeah. So do you think people need to do the oversharing massively to kind of get that community to then be able to
pull back? I mean, I don't think I ever overshared. But I think what people don't say enough of, which I'll say, is, I'm saying I switch off work at 3. I didn't do that before. I only do that because, one, I've worked to get to a place of doing that. I used to work 7 days a week, finish late. I worked all the time. So I do think, that to get a business off the ground, you do have to put the time in. Do you have to overshare? I do not believe so. I honestly believe that some of the people I like the most don't know anything about their lives. I almost like those people better. I don't like reality TV. So I will never follow someone for their life. I will follow them because I think they've got great style, great food. I like people for their skills, and that's it. So I'm not someone that follows someone who doesn't have a set skill. Does that make sense? So that for me is like kind of, and I know that's really not normal. Most people like to see everyone's full lives, but I'm not as interested in that. I don't know why. It's just
I haven't
not
got time
to
to look at everyone's life all the time. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, no, but I don't think you need to overshare to grow. I think you need to just be authentic and be passionate and find a need. So whatever that is. So like for me, people were wanting to get healthy, but they don't know how to. So I'm sharing recipes to show them how, or sharing things to show. So I think what's more important is finding a need and like fulfilling that need for people consistently. The hardest part is just being consistent, showing up all the time, and just it is relentless. Like it is never enough. It is never ever enough. And you constantly have to keep going and keep creating. And I think that's something you either are into or you're not. And I think it is such a great job. Like, I mean, I love it and I'm so grateful, but I totally get why for some people they would just not enjoy it and it wouldn't be for them. I think for me, I found my like boundaries that work for me, that enable me to keep going and not get bogged down in it or have poor mental health from it, because I know a lot of people struggle with negative comments or or just feeling like they're never switched off or anything. I think I found my balance, but like you said, that is because of time. And there was a period of time where I hired someone to do it all for me, and I was completely unrelated to it because I couldn't do it anymore, and I just felt really like off it. And now I've come back and I'm more connected with it. But I think, we go through different iterations of our businesses, and I'm hopefully constantly evolving and changing. A mixture of to go with the times, but a mixture just to keep me interested.
Yeah.
So, like I did my Pilates teacher training last year, and I've launched this platform called the Glow Space, which is like an online digital platform with like movement, meditation and meal plans. So it's about bringing wellness to your home. So, not everyone has the finance or the time to go and do Pilates every day or, have a nutritionist. So I'm trying to kind of make it more accessible and affordable. And part of that was passion for me. But part of the reasons I've taken on new projects is I want to keep inspiring myself. So I've got this mixture of inspiring others, but also inspiring myself, because I think innately in all humans, we want to grow, right? Being stuck in the same position, doing the same thing is hard. It's I think humans want to grow. I think it's one of most of our key values of life. So I do evolve a lot for myself to keep me interested and keep me, because I do often think, God, I'd probably do better if I just stuck to one niche, like just do food, Maddie, like just bash out 5 recipes a week, and potentially that would help me grow more because it's a niche. But for my own selfishness, I like to have variety. And also it's me, like you said, like we came back before, holistic health is me. And I so believe in it. So I want to kind of have those multiple strings to my bow.
I think it's necessary. I was, one of my questions was like, how do you kind of, the way I phrased it was stay relevant. I actually hate that word, but like, because everyone's relevant, but you know what I mean? When you've been in the game for like 12 years, it's like, how do I keep going? But inspiring yourself is really the answer. And I guess also that there's we're always learning, we're always growing. Like, although you've done your qualifications and you've been in the space and wellness inside and out, there's probably things coming up. Like, for example, the new trend on like beef, eggs, cheese. There's a lot of value coming from that, although not all of it necessarily completely true, but we're always learning. And
of course,
so I think that's also a way that you probably stay
100%. I think like new research, new things. And like, I've always see people as expanders. Do you know Lacey Phillips?
No.
So she's like a manifesting person, and she has this term called expanders, and I think it's really beautiful. So instead of going, there's that person that's doing what I'm doing and I feel they're doing it better than me and they've got more followers than me or whatever, like we all do this, is we see them as an expander. And I really, that terminology has completely changed my life, because I think it's so good to just be like, well, look what they're doing and look what they're creating and look how they've done their business. And like, I'm not going to do it exactly like them, but I will be inspired by them. And like, I think we need to look at people like that and look at the world in that, all these people are showing us what's possible, what we want, what we don't want in our lives. Like, and that's the kind of great little feedback loop that we're constantly having, is like, oh, like she's doing a yoga retreat. Do I want that? Or is that just cool and I'm happy for that person? And I think we have to keep evolving and thinking about that, because I think we can get into this negative cycle of comparison. So like, she's got better clothes than me, a better house, a better this. And actually just look at it as an expander. It's like, well, she did it or he did it. Like, that means I can do it too. Like, there is the possibilities for all of us to have these experiences. And I think, flipping that switch from comparison to expander is a really, I think, a healthier way of looking at it. And like you said, it keeps you inspired, it keeps you growing, it keeps you kind of being like, okay, like, you know, we're all like having unique thoughts is really, really unusual. Like it's quite hard to have like a brand new idea these days. Like I feel like I often come up with them and then I Google it and I'm like, damn it, someone's done it. Yeah, I'm like, and like, you know, I think that happens all the time. And like, I think, but like you can do your spin on it. And in fact, 12 years ago, I left Sydney to come back to the UK. And I had like a leaving party, had like loads of friends, and we were, you know, all saying goodbye. And I said to my friend, I want to start up a food blog. It's so funny that I thought this at the time, but I was like, but it's already been done. And, you know, there's already like health cookbooks out there. And like, you know, like, I just feel like I won't be different. And this friend of mine said to me, he was like, but Maddie, he was like, but you are super unique and you will bring something that no one else to the world can. And I've literally said that sentence to myself like repeatedly over and over. And I genuinely think potentially if he hadn't said that to me, I might not have ever done it, because I might have just gone, it's an idea and I'm, you know, but like I'm not going to go through with it. And I do think it takes a lot of courage, a bit of naivety, and just a hell of a lot of passion and work to get something up off the ground. And I think that sentence has really helped me, and it's true for all of us. And I think we just have to constantly, you know, think about that. And we can look at that in so many ways. Like, I don't know, innocent smoothie, like smoothies existed before, but they completely put it on the map in a different way. Like that's what all great businesses and brands have been doing time and time again. Like, yes, there is sometimes new innovation, but on the whole, we're kind of just figuring out a different need for people and making it a little bit better or a little bit more interesting.
Completely.
And I think there are so many people out there. There's so much space for all of us. And people always say to me, are you jealous of this person? Or have you seen this person? And I'm like, no, like you don't have one cookbook in your cupboard and you don't just follow one person online. Like there's room for all of us. And I think we have to remind ourselves of that, because I think we can, you know, hold ourselves back from taking risks and doing things from that sort of place of fear. But I think if we can tune into our uniqueness, that's like that's where the best ideas and the best things come from.
Completely. And I have thought that so many times as well.
Yeah.
And you're right, like everyone's got their own spin on things, and that's what makes it so great. And like not every food blog is going to stand the test of time. And like, you know, people start podcasts all the time, and there's a statistic where they don't get past episode 11 or something like that. And it's like, because so, you know, at the end of the day, there is so much space for everyone. Definitely. They won't all work. Not all business ideas work. Not all podcasts work. Not all blogs work. Like I started a blog, it's not here now. And like, you know, so I think, but I always thought, I still do, I can't do that, someone else has done.
Yeah.
But you're so right, like your own personality, your own uniqueness, your own take on things, your own reiteration of a recipe, your own take on it is what people want to see, and they buy into you, don't they? Not the idea, which you've got to remind yourself of.
You definitely do. And like, I think it's a hard one. It is a hard one, but like, I do think it's the best message we can tell ourselves.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Right. I have a few foodie questions that I've got, and also the community have sent in. So we're going to answer a few questions. So first one is milk. Let's touch on milk. I want to hear your thoughts on plant-based milk, oat milk, normal milk, raw milk. Let's go deep dive milk.
Okay.
Because, there's a lot of talk out there about milks.
Yeah. Okay. So should we start with oat milk?
Yes.
Which I feel like everyone loved and now everyone bashes, don't they? So oat milk, I reckon the reason why people are quite anti and against it are for two reasons. One, it's really high in sugar. So it's mainly made of starch. And obviously when you make these, plant milks, you take out the fibre because you sort of blend it with water, soak it, and then you strain it, and that sort of takes the fibre out. So what you're left with is kind of a very starchy water, which is why it tastes so great. Let's be honest, like we all very easily switch to oat milk lattes because they taste amazing.
Yeah.
I think there's almost too much pressure on milk. Like, I mean, unless you are literally drinking like a massive glass of milk, like I don't think we need to be so precious on it. Like I think people are like boycotting oat milk lattes, but like there's like maybe like I don't know exactly the amount of milk that there's in a latte, but it's not a huge amount. It's a lot of foam and maybe like 200 ml of milk or something. So yes, it does have some sugar in it, but so does sweet potato, and so does carrots, and so does other things. So I think if you have issues with sugar, so you're insulin resistant, diabetic, you need to, or potentially you've got PCOS. So there are conditions where we need to be more vigilant, then potentially it's not the milk for you. If you're having a splash of it in your cup of tea or a small amount in your cappuccino, I don't think it's a big deal. The other thing that's with oat milk is the oils that it's made with. So all these barista ones, because oats don't have any fat in them, they're pretty much carbohydrate and sugar. They don't froth. You need fat to froth. So they add in, mainly kind of vegetable oils. Now, vegetable oils, again, is a really controversial one. The problem is the way that they're heated. So actually, like cold press rapeseed oil isn't bad for us, but on the whole, most of these milk brands aren't using it because it's more expensive. Especially when things like they're heated at high temperatures, they can cause inflammation in the body. So again, it's best to have ones that don't have vegetable oil in them. However, some brands do use more kind of higher quality ones, like things like Plenish. I think they're a really good brand in terms of being organic and good quality. But again, a really small amount isn't going to hurt you. Again, like it depends on the quantity that you're drinking, so I think we have to also have a little bit of mindset with that. So for me, I have buy oat milk every now and then. I quite like using it sometimes in cooking, baking. Sometimes I use it in my smoothie. I tend to do like half oat milk, half water, so it's not as much sugar. But like, let's be honest, you need a bit of sweetness in a smoothie. It's really rank when you've got no sweetness in a smoothie.
Yeah.
Like, it just tastes shit and you don't want to drink it. So like we do need a bit of sweetness. Okay, so milk, as in cow's milk, I think is a good source of milk if you can digest lactose. So a lot of people don't drink milk because they're lactose intolerant, and they can't digest it as well. It's going to spike your blood sugar levels less than oat milk, so it's quite good again if you're trying to balance your blood sugar levels. It froths nicely without any added oils because it's got fat in it, so it is quite a good one for coffee. If you can go organic, like obviously that is better for you. I mean, the milk industry isn't great and the quality of a lot of milk isn't ideal. So if you are drinking milk, try and get it kind of as best quality as possible. Raw milk's really interesting. So the cafe I worked at in Sydney, we used to sell raw milk. And this is when raw milk wasn't a thing. And it used to be sold as milk to bathe in. So because it was illegal, you could fill up a bath of milk. Obviously, there are like for and against with raw milk. There's obviously the against because it hasn't been heated or treated. There are potentially side effects of it. But then obviously when you do treat it, it does kill a lot of the benefits of it. So it's quite hard. I mean, it's a bit like that with yogurt and lots of other foods. I think with raw milk, if you get it from a really good source, it can be really fantastic. There are lots of places out there selling it. I don't massively like the taste of milk. I never have, even since I was a kid. You know, I grew up in the era where, you know, you had to drink loads of milk. So I feel like I had like 10 scoops of Nesquik in my milk, so I'd drink it. I don't think that, you know, we're not babies anymore, and we don't need to get all our sources of nutrients from milk. So I think, yes, there is a conversation to have about milk. I don't think it should be the conversation that we have, because milk should just be something we put in our tea, potentially something we might put in our smoothies, but it's not where we should be getting our protein source from, our fats from. It's kind of should just be a nice add-on into our diet, but not the base of our diet. So I think almost like, you know, we don't need to overthink it. It's kind of my thoughts on it. It's like, I think it's almost like there's too much noise on it. Things like almond milk, the other like nut milks, they're good. Again, they've got pretty low nutrition to them. I'm probably mainly use almond milk because it's low in sugar. But I'm not using it for nutrition. I'm using it as a carrier for my smoothies, and like as a base for my smoothies. And maybe like, I don't know, if I'm baking something and it needs a bit of milk, I'll use that. So yeah, I know like the nut milks, they don't have very much nutrition in them, but I'm just using it as a carrier just to give a bit more flavour to whatever I'm kind of using it for. Again, try and use ones that don't have oils in them as well. So not the barista ones that are just like water, almonds, and that's it.
Yeah.
Is that
definitely helps?
enough?
That's amazing. No, that's really good.
I think let's have awareness. Let's choose the best quality, but let's also remember that we're not using it as all our nutrition, and like, you know, it is often a very small amount in our drinks, and like, you know, if that tastes really good. Like I remember someone came up to me and they're like, oh, I've heard oat milk's bad and I just love it in my cup of tea, and I was like, babe, like it's fine, like have it. If you have so much joy from that cup of tea, then like do it. Like, you know, it's a very small amount of sugar going into your body, and like you can handle it, and you're getting that from other sources as well. So I think I feel like we've gone a bit too
milk crazy
on it all. But yeah, it's interesting to see where it will go, because again, it's sort of trend. It was so big on oat, now it's big on raw, and I wonder where we'll go
I'm
next.
with you. I'm almond. I love oat milk in my like coffees and stuff, but I actually have Rude Health's almond barista is really interesting, because it's got almond and oat.
Okay, nice.
So the first two ingredients are water, almonds, then oat. And it's kind of got the oat to give it a nice creaminess, but it's also got almonds in it. It's quite a nice blend.
Okay, that's nice.
But actually, I didn't realise it had oats in it, because it's like almond barista milk. And then you turn it over and you see. And today I actually tried a new brand called Oto, which is in the bottle. It's in like a normal milk bottle.
Oh, that's nice.
Really funny. And it's like a fresh, it's not long life, so it's not got as many additives in it.
That's
it does
good.
have rapeseed oil in it. Not sure cold pressed or not. But the whole vegetable oil, rapeseed oil has been another one that people are like slamming at the moment. And I do see a lot in that. Like there is reason to slam a lot of it. And most of the things you turn over do have rapeseed oil and vegetables oil in it.
No, it's hard to escape vegetable oils, definitely. Like they are, I think, because they preserve things really well. And I think it's that battle of like, I'm sure the people creating these products aren't like gonna fuck up that person's health. Do you know what I mean? They're not doing that. Like they're just trying to turn a profit, right? And they're trying to keep things stable, you know, and we want that, right? We want the food to be stable. But I think, inevitably it's going to get into our diet, and like if we're eating at restaurants, it's most likely going to be cooked that way. But what we can control is what we eat at home. So like if 80% of the time you're cooking from home, like I think we want to use like, you know, oils that don't denature with heat. So things like avocado oil, it's really good for cooking at high temperature. Ghee as well, if you know, ghee is quite good because it works even if you've got lactose intolerance. It's clarified butter. It's kind of used in a lot of Indian food, and that's also, you can heat it to a high temperature. So those two I use, and coconut oil as well. Those three are quite good oils to use where you can heat them at high temperatures and they don't denature, because that's a big thing with the vegetable oils and also olive oils. We don't want to heat it to too high a temperature because then it denatures and it oxidizes, and that's what's causing the inflammation in our bodies. So I tend to use those for like cooking oils, and then extra virgin olive oil for like salad dressings, or if you're cooking at a low temperature as well, that's a really good one to use. Again, I'm not anti-rapeseed oil. I don't cook with that at home. Personally, I prefer the taste of the others and I don't need it in my kind of repertoire. But I think, yeah, again, with the quality is really important. But then there are a lot of people speaking out saying there's like not enough evidence against vegetable oils, and actually like we don't need to demonize them in the same way that we are. I haven't gone down the like tallow kind of sort of animal fat route personally, from a taste preference. Like I totally get like potatoes with like duck fat or things are really delicious, but on the whole I prefer using the other oils that I cook with. If kind of animal fat oils work for you, then knock yourself out. But I'm not putting it on my face or or cooking with it, but mainly from a flavour and taste point of view. A bit like, you know how people, I mean, me included, by the way, I just want to caveat that like my first few cookbooks, it's like coconut oil cooked with everything. Like, you know, you have to also choose what's right for the dish, right? Like, you know, probably you don't want to cook your scrambled eggs in coconut oil. So like you kind of, that's why I think it's nice to have like avocado oil, ghee and coconut oil for variety, so that you can kind of choose between them. Because again, you might not want to cook your eggs with tallow, like because that might feel a bit like intense in the morning. So I think it's good to have a few that you like chop and change from. And variety is everything, right? We do need that for like our gut health, and like each oil has different benefits. So I think again, having that variety is
I'm going to look into ghee, because I thought that because of being lactose intolerant I was staying away from it, but I do coconut oil and avocado oil, but ghee I hadn't looked into, so I'm going to look into that.
Give it a try.
I'll give it a try. So what about breakfast? So breakfast is personally my favourite meal of the day, and everyone's like demonising oats, and they're like, oats are an empty carb, like no more porridge, no more overnight oats, and I'm like, no. So what should we be eating for breakfast to fuel ourselves perfectly for the day?
I mean, I'm a big believer in trying to have like 30 grams of protein in each meal, so your breakfast but also your lunch or dinner. And I think this is really important for blood sugar level balance. It keeps you fuller for longer. Obviously it's good for like building lean tissue in your muscles as well, but I think what we want to be doing is, so for example, if we're having eggs for breakfast, actually an egg only has 6 grams of protein. So often we're only having 2 eggs, right? Eggs and soldiers or whatever. And that's only 12 grams. So it's actually not enough. So if you're having eggs, you kind of want to have like 4 to have a good consistent amount of protein. That sometimes feels a bit like 4, you know, sometimes just like, I don't want to eat 4 eggs. So what I often do is just have like a little protein shake on the side, and not necessarily like a full scoop, just like a teaspoon mixed in with like almond milk, and just like shake it up like that, just to kind of get myself to that next level. I'm not anti-oats personally. I get where people come from in terms of, obviously they do spike your blood sugar levels more than say eggs do. But I think for me, like if you mix it with some chia seeds, you know, with some yogurt, with berries, like get that diversity. Like I don't think having porridge with oat milk and honey is a great way to start your day. But if you had some oats with a few different seeds, some nuts, some Greek yogurt and some berries, you can probably hit your 30 grams of protein with all those different things combined. And you've got that diversity. And I'm a big believer in, you know, trying to get 30 different types of plants a week in your diet. Diversity for your gut health is really important. And as much as, yes, we need protein, but we want it from lots of different sources. And I don't want to eat eggs every day. Like, I like eggs, don't get me wrong, but like, I don't want to eat them every morning.
No, I don't.
So I kind of go between, I do like eating eggs. So something eggs, I often make like banana pancakes. So like eggs, mashed banana, like Greek yogurt, like berries, something like that. And again, like some Greek yogurts, are like 10 grams of protein per 100 grams. So you can put in 150, 200 grams of yogurt, which is like a normal serving size. And you've got like 15 to 20 grams of protein there. Like, it's a great source of protein. And then I do use protein powder sometimes. Like, I know, again, some people are not into it because it is a processed food, like many, many things are. But I think it serves a purpose. Like, when I get back home, like if I've worked out and I can just blend it with a few different other things, I think it's just a really easy way to like hit your protein targets. I like a brand called Form Nutrition. I think they're really good. It is a girlfriend of mine who started it, so I obviously just want to caveat that. But whether she started it or not, Natalia, yeah, she's great. I think it's a great brand. I think what they do is great, and in terms of like quality sourcing, I think it's fantastic. So yeah, if you need a recommendation, because there are a lot of like quite rubbish brands on the market as well that aren't using good quality. So definitely go for quality with protein powder. I don't think that should be our only source. And I'm not a massive fan of protein bars, because I think they are, not all, but many of them are just full of absolute rubbish. So I think that we need to have that balance of getting protein, but not being like, that's the only thing that I'm focusing on, the only thing that I'm like aiming for. Because I do think protein's become like the thing that everyone wants and is trying to kind of hit those goals. But yeah, I think kind of, mix it up with your breakfasts, have different types of like variety of things. But yeah, I do think trying to get that protein in the morning, of all the meals, I do think that's the one to really try and like up and get it to that target, because it does make such a difference to your day. And I do think, so many people struggle with energy dips at 10, 11 a.m. They're reaching for more coffee, more chocolate. And when you have those dips, it's quite hard to make good choices. Like, I think it makes your life harder. So like, if we can balance out our energy, feel fuller for longer, not have those dips, we're making our life easier to pick and make better choices as well in the long term, and that kind of gets us into that better cycle.
Yeah, completely. Fasting.
Okay.
Thoughts on that? Do we need to fast? We all fast when we sleep, but what are your thoughts on kind of the intermittent fasting?
I think it's really great. I think it's a great tool. I think definitely for our gut health. I think, we're often constantly just like eating and snacking throughout the day, and we don't give ourselves a break. So I think having a window between supper and breakfast, where you're not putting anything in your body, is a good thing. I don't think that it's for everyone. Like, everything, whether we're talking about raw milk, whether we're talking about eggs, I don't think fasting's for everyone. A lot of the research has been done on men, like a lot of health, unfortunately. There are more people. I've started reading a book by a woman called Dr. Mindy called Fasting Like a Girl, which is more about fasting for women. And it's kind of like when to fast and how long around your cycle. So obviously, our cycle, we're made up of different parts. So whether you're menstruating or ovulating, or that period before your period comes on, you fast at different times. For me, like, I get that, but it's quite complicated. I feel like sometimes, like, those things you're like, I can't cope with that. So for me, I think 14 hours is great. 12 to 14 hours. So bring your dinner earlier. I think that's great for everyone. It means you sleep better. We should ideally start eating 3 hours before bed for our body to have properly digested our food. It means we're going to sleep better. If we go to bed with a full stomach, I think we all know it feels really rubbish. So I think, if you can pull your supper earlier and then, count over 14 hours, it means that your breakfast times quite well. That works better for me than dinner late and then skipping breakfast.
I'm the same.
I personally like having breakfast in the morning, and I normally exercise in the morning, so I like to kind of team it after. But I think it's about figuring out what works for you. Like, I've got friends and I know people who love it, like never eat breakfast and they feel amazing. And if it feels good for you, then it is right for you. Like, as much as, yes, we want to look at the research and understanding, but you can read research that will say eat every 3 hours, and you can read research that says fast until 12 o'clock. So give it a go, try it for 2 weeks. And if you feel absolutely rubbish, then it's not for you. And if you feel absolutely amazing, like, I often think the fasting till 12 works really well if you sleep until like 9 or 10, because it's like not that hard. But when you wake up at 6 a.m, it's a really, really long time.
I'm with you. So I'm actually currently doing the Detox Kitchen 3-day vegan reset. And they give you I think you've done a few plans with them, haven't you? Yeah. And I'm doing it's kind of like the intermittent fasting one.
Yeah.
And just because I'm just giving it a go, but I'm a massive breakfast person, and on this plan you start with the juice.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, we're trying this. And then obviously you have your lunch and your dinner and your snack and stuff like that. And it's great, but I do miss that kind of breakfast. But I think it's good. I think routine's amazing for our bodies, and our bodies love routine. But I also think, as of everything, it's good to shock the body out of routine sometimes, just
100%.
to see just to give your gut a rest and stuff like that. So I think it is good for that. But I'm not very good at doing it. I mean, I think it says like break a fast at 11, and I'm there at like 10, like waiting to go. Like, can I have something now?
Exactly.
But yeah, I think so. Clearly, it doesn't work for me. But I think my mum doesn't eat breakfast, and she'll go till 12, and that works for her. I think everyone is so different.
I think and we have to relate that to all of health and well-being. It's like, what works for, like you said, my mum, my friend, that supermodel, whatever, isn't. You have to kind of have that. And yes, there are so many amazing benefits of fasting. Like, it's really anti-aging, it's really good for the digestive system, it can be a good way of weight loss. But if it is, making you super, super miserable, then there are so many other things that you could try. And I think you're right, potentially, even if it's just like one day a week, on a Sunday, you like fast till 12 o'clock and then you sleep in, so it's just that little bit easier or something. Like, I think, you can kind of have those days. Like, I know lots of people are into water fasts, so just doing like 12 or 24 hours of just water, so nothing else, and that really, really works for them as well. And that's quite good for the digestive system, because I do think we put our digestive system through a lot. And obviously, we're really stressed as well, and we've got this brain gut axis, so we're kind of sending these signals of stress to our digestive system all the time. So I think anything we can do to sort of alleviate a bit of stress and a bit is a good thing as well. But I think, being your own detective with your health is a great thing. And it is annoying, because I know everyone just wants to be like, just give me the magic pill and tell me the thing. And I totally hear you on that. Like, I wish I could give that, but unfortunately, we are all different.
Yeah.
And I think it's just kind of trial and error. And also, as you age and you go through different stages of your life, like, you've got to adapt to work or being a parent or, moving overseas or whatever that is. You have to kind of allow for like a new routine to take shape and
Definitely. And tips on reducing bloating. I think obviously you probably have the book on this from like the IBS days and all of that. But yeah, what are your tips for that?
I'd say my first one is chewing your food. I think it's something that so many people don't do, is just taking that time to sit down and properly chew your food. We're always eating like walking down the street, or like while we're watching TV, or like on the go. And I think if you can, take 15-20 minutes to sit down and like chew each mouthful like 15 times over, and that makes such a difference. It sounds so basic and like so simple, but actually it makes such a difference. Digestion starts in the mouth, and if we're just swallowing things really quickly, it's really hard for our stomach to break them down, and that does often cause a lot of bloating and gas. So I think that's definitely my number one. My second one is really looking at stress. As we talked about, there is this interlink, and I think we need to figure out a tool of managing it, and whatever that looks like for you. There are so many different things out there. So I think having something to manage your stress is really important. So I'm a big believer in meditation, but whether that's journaling or just breath work or getting into nature, doing something to kind of bring your nervous system down. And naturally bloating is inevitable. We will always get a bit of bloating after a big meal. It's a natural response. But obviously when it becomes painful, debilitating, we've got to take action, and we shouldn't be living in pain. That's just not a way to live. So yeah, I would go down the chewing the food, managing stress levels, obviously looking at what you eat. Just I'm an advocate of fiber, but obviously just kind of keeping awareness of it not causing too much bloating. And then other things that cause bloating are a lot of sweeteners as well, so potentially reducing them. A lot of fizzy drinks as well, even if that is just fizzy water or something, that can be quite gas inducing as well and cause a lot of bloating. But then equally, for me, raisins make me bloat. Super random. I think I used to love raisins when I was younger, and I think I maybe just overdid them. But if I eat even I could do 3 or 4, but if a lot of raisins, I just get bloated. So again, we do get triggered by different foods. So just, keep an eye on it. Again, bloating doesn't mean you are intolerant or you have an allergy to something potentially. It might mean that you've got a slight intolerance. It doesn't necessarily, but it just might mean that your body finds that particular food a bit harder to digest and break down, and maybe you either reduce it or cut it out for a period of time. But yeah, and then I think even just doing a bit of a stomach massage, we're so used to massaging our shoulders and our heads and our arms and our feet, but actually just get in there with an oil, lie on your belly and massage your belly. Another great thing is a castor oil pack. I don't know if you've seen those, but it's you put castor oil and then you kind of wrap your belly with a hot water bottle, and again that's really good for just reducing bloating, kind of increasing more circulation in that area. And that's kind of what a massage does as well. It's just increasing circulation in that area. And if you I probably can't explain this if you just go on YouTube and look up a stomach massage, that's a really great way of reducing bloating, because you're just keeping it moving. And exercise as well, moving your body. I think yoga is really, really good because it's a lot of twisting. It's a lot of running, you're kind of just moving in the same pose pretty much the whole time, whereas yoga is really good at twisting. You're on your belly, you're on your back, you're kind of really massaging your organs. So getting that movement in as well is really good. Because we are quite static and we are sitting a lot, and I think our body does need to move. For sure. And that really makes a difference with bloating. But I think, digestive issues are so common now. So many people are struggling with them, whether that is bloating or whether that is discomfort or all the other ones that come with it. And I think stress is such a big part of it. I think we really often turn to food, but they did this study with these people with IBS, and I can't remember, they took one group and they did the low FODMAP diet. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's quite a difficult diet. It's definitely, you're basically cutting out very specific foods with these particular sugars in them. And then they took the other group and they just did hatha yoga 3 times a week. So 6 weeks, both of them. At the end, they had the same results, as in they both benefited, but at the same level. And I think what that kind of shows us is that actually movement and some sort of mindfulness or meditation or reducing your stress levels has the same impact as food. And I think when it comes to gut health, we often just go straight to food, right? Because it is our gut, it's where we're absorbing our food. But actually we've got to kind of take it hand in hand with managing our stress levels, because I think you can eat perfectly, and if you're riddled with stress, you're gonna keep having recurrent, stomach problems. So I think we have to kind of have this holistic approach.
Yeah, back to holistic again.
I can't stop myself.
I love it. Well, Madeleine, thank you so much for coming. We do have a final question.
Okay, let's do it.
All about food again. And we always finish with, what would your last meal be?
It would be slow roast lamb. I absolutely love slow roast lamb in a like Middle Eastern style. So like harissa, chickpeas, some Greek yogurt, some sort of like fettuccine, like cucumber tomato salad, and then I would have four pudding, pistachio gelato, and then I'd also have like a lemon tart, like a tarte au citron.
Oh my god, amazing!
I know that's slightly off the Middle Eastern theme.
I love all that though. And what about starter?
What would I have as a starter? Okay, well I feel like I'm going down Middle Eastern, so I go like hummus, baba ganoush, flatbreads.
That'll definitely be me.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Sounds delicious.
I think I'm going for that as my final.
I love
final
it.
Meal
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been so great hearing your story, hearing your advice, tips, and I think just kind of like making it a bit more clear. I think sometimes people always think, but what do I do? What do I do? And often it's like, listen to what your body wants, and that might help you a lot, and don't overcomplicate it, and enjoy life.
Yes, 100%. That
is key, and holistic as well. Think of all the different pillars, not just food.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.